Hello and welcome to Biz Daily. I'm Jon Jordan. So today we're looking at some financials. We're in the financial period where companies announce what they've been doing over the last 3 months, and the company we're looking at today is EA Mobile. Now EA Mobile is a bit of a difficult one to analyse in any depth because it's part obviously of EA, and EA doesn't really break out a lot of kind of detail in exactly how EA Mobile is working. It just gives a headline figure really, and that's the kind of revenue for the quarter. So the quarter we're looking at is actually the period April, May, June 2015, which for EA, confusingly, is its Q1 2016, just the way it runs its kind of a calendar financial year. But the good news for EA Mobile was that its revenue during that period was a record, so that's $145 million, and that was up, let's have a quick check, that was up 17% compared to the previous quarter. Now, just a quick note, these are the GAAP figures, that's the general accepted accounting practice, which all American companies have to use. Digital media companies tend not to like to use those figures because there's restrictions on, or they see as restrictive on how they kind of book their income. But anyway, that's the figures, that's the accepted kind of figures that they have to do, and that's what we kind of use really to analyse them. The other debate is one for another time, I guess. But pretty impressive really. So EA is kind of growing, which all companies like to do. It's at a record, so all companies like to hit a record as well. And the really interesting thing was during the quarter EA didn't really release any kind of major games. So obviously we're in a situation now where games as a service is the thing everyone talks about, so obviously you have to release new games at some point, but the whole point is you can have a game and you just build it, and the whole point is to kind of have it as a service that people play for months, years even, and that's certainly what EA seems to have been doing. So it released a kind of not a WWE, it wasn't WWE, it released a UFC wrestling game, which is kind of quite niche release for its audience. But so clearly during the quarter, what we've seen is EA's existing portfolio. So the games that we all know that have been around for years. So The Simpsons, Tapped Out, the kind of Real Racing 3, The Sims Build It, that came out about a year ago. So those kind of games. EA has a lot of games. Obviously the sports stuff, the FIFAs and the Maddens. Those games are performing better in this quarter than they have in the previous quarter. And what is particularly kind of interesting is the only other kind of figure EA really announced was its monthly active user or player base, and it actually declined. So that was 150 million people played EA's games in the month. I'm assuming that's the month of June, the last month of the quarter, but that was down 9%. So the previous quarter, the average, that was 165. So what we kind of see is, even though the number of people playing EA's games actively has declined, I mean 10% is not a massive decline, but clearly it is a big decline. Obviously, when they launch some new games, it will go back up again. But they're seeming to monetize a smaller user base better, which is kind of something that all companies in this kind of games as a service field have to do. It's very hard to continually be getting new players in to drive your sales, so you have to kind of get more out of the people who are playing. And to a degree, that's kind of the philosophy of these games anyway, because the more time you're spending playing these games, the more likely you are to spend. The deeper you are in the game, the more attached you are to the game. So yeah, so the only thing is for EA Mobile that we don't get is, that we do for other companies, is profit. So we don't know how profitable it is because EA doesn't break that out of its headline profits. So we can't really make any kind of insight into kind of how well it's been run from that point of view. But from all the figures we see, EA Mobile seems to have had a pretty good quarter. So well done EA Mobile. Come back tomorrow, see what other companies have been doing and if they've been as successful. See you then.